If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. Anybody here? Okay, people. Anybody here? See my old friend Robert. Can you tell me? But I think we all kind of knew this was coming. It's not even finished yet, but R. Kelly has been found guilty on all charges. Him being found guilty on all charges probably means that the other courts are going to agree, right? And even if they don't, what are the chances of him ever getting out? So it ain't nice to be gloating on other people. Well, we got to report the news, right? So R. Kelly gone. He's been gone basically for the last 3 years. His sentence is not till May, so he's gonna sit in jail for another damn near a year, waiting to be sentenced. You know they're gonna drop the hammer, and then when you get that sentence, then they're gonna move you to Illinois, and they're gonna try you there. Then probably they're gonna move you to Georgia and try you. This guy, he could be in trials for 5 years, easy. But R. Kelly, you got away with it, man. I mean, that's the thing. You know, what was that 15, 16 years ago when they tried him and he walked away scot-free. Now, for you to go back and do the exact same thing to create more victims, and like if you've never even been through it, then I just say you had your chance. It's bad. So anyway, what came to mind was the song that he wrote, the song he's most famous for. Of course, he had all kinds of great music in different different groups of people, but everybody pretty much knew what I Believe I Can Fly was. I believe it won 3 Grammys. So what song, I get let y'all guess, what song you think is going to come to mind most often with R. Kelly when he is behind bars for real, when he's in prison? What song is it going to be? What was the biggest hit? I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. That could very easily have been a prison song, right? Is it Prophecy? I don't know. Is Prophecy just looking into the future? What an appropriate song, video for that song. Yep, there are many times. San Quentin's is right on the Bay, San Francisco Bay, right? So, of course, many of us have sat at those walls many times wondering, God, is there any way I can get out of here? If I can't take it one more fucking day. And then you take it one more day. One more day turns into one more month, one more year. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy all the way around. But R. Kelly, you had it all. You know, his demons destroyed him. Sex demons. Had to bump and grind and all the I'm sure there's tons of music. I think he'll be thinking about that flying though after a while. There was a guy, I was in Vacaville prison, and there was a guy. I said, where that guy going? This guy would pack up his whole cell, right? This man was doing double life. He would never get out of prison, right? But he would every year, they say at the same time, he would pack up his bags and put them by the gate. And I guess the cops were so familiar with his routine that they would just let him do it. And I said, okay, see you later, man. They said he ain't going nowhere. He does this every year, right? But that he had lost his mind in prison. Well, Vacaville was have crazy people anyway, so I don't know what the situation was. But when you're in there, god damn. And then the more you have to look at all of the ways that man could have been spending his money. And for him, it all came down to sex. Everything was about sex, 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 and doing all these obscene things with these children. A lot of those girls are gonna be fucked up forever. They'll be messed up forever, honey. They'll go from R. Kelly to some other trick, That's how it happens. You're exposing children to sex, to adult sex, and he was really having all kind of weird kind of things going on, locking people in rooms and starving them and all this. You can't come out of your room, and you got 4 and 5 of them in the different places in the same house. All very sexually charged. A lot of it was about sex. Such a wasted talent. Well, I just watching him. I became interested in the girl, uh, Kelly Price. Lord have mercy. Of course, we've been talking about Kelly for the last few days, and so when I saw her give her interview, uh, saying that she was okay, I was so relieved. But then I became curious about music I had heard in the past, and I remembered that she had done that song with Ron Isley when I first became aware of her. I know she was a big singer before then. That's why she was in a video with Ron Isley. But I didn't realize what I didn't realize or remember was that R. Kelly is also in that video with Ron Isley and Kelly Price. I guess that their father, he's the godfather. The daughter is called because the man is cheating, and then so the father, the godfather, goes to check the man who is cheating currently, sex, and then the person, the guy who she's in love with, she's all distraught about, is R. Kelly, right? So can we assume that he probably wrote the music too? Many misnomers. He's even done some gospel music that I appreciated. So I don't have a lot to say about the story, people. How y'all doing? How y'all doing today? Chicago court next. Oh, that's gonna be a big one there. That's where he did all his work at. Shit, he was doing work in Chicago before he even became famous, right? What a horrible burden to have to go through life, knowing that you're attracted to a felony crime that could put you away. You have to be thinking about it your whole life. Then, if anybody don't, I'm sure they spend a lot of time convincing these people that you can never tell anybody that this happened. You cannot tell your mom, you can't tell your dad, you can't tell your girlfriends, whatever, because he knows he was committing felonies. I mean, how long did he think he was going to get away with this thing? And my thing is, after you had went all off the track, whatever, got caught up in your fame and your fortune, all this shit, and then you got caught, and then you beat the case and walked away to go immediately right back to the same thing. You can only have so much compassion for a person like that, man. You have destroyed other girls. Now we might not say, well, they were having a good time. They were no, 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 no. You don't interrupt childhood. You just don't do it, honey. You don't know what effect it has on people. Them people might be in S&M dungeons for the rest of their life. We don't know what kind of weird shit he was doing to those girls. You wouldn't even introduce most of that stuff to a grown woman. So he had his time. Let's hope he survives. The time in prison for a child molester is different than for other people, right? Now they'll eventually let them work and all that, but if you are a convicted child molester, they don't even put you on the main line. There's so many people in there who have a real problem with child molesters, and some yeah, there'll be those ones that say, "Oh, it's right on, brother. I can blame you," and all that kind of shit. But there's also people in there who have been molested themselves. Real problem with people who have molested kids, who fear their own children are being molested by somebody, some man, the woman in the drug comes, he been down. There's all kind of reasons for people to have a real problem with child molesters, and many times they just don't make it out. I'm just telling you the truth. So that's why they're always in protective custody. That's not a good way to do your time when you're locked in a cell by yourself, most of the time. Maybe after 4 or 5 years, they'll let you get a little job or something like that. But after you leave your cell, you go back to protective custody. They don't let you on the main line. You could too easily be hurt. Somebody trying to make a name for themselves. Somebody already doing a life sentence, honey, who hates child molesters because they all seem to agree with that, can make a name for themselves. I'm the one that killed R. Kelly. There's nothing good here. Timothy Blaine, you should be saying anything because you've been in prison yourself. You should be on his side. No, girl. Right is still right and wrong is still wrong, honey. And whatever I did my paid the price for it. It didn't make it right. I ain't saying doing drugs, selling drugs is right. I'll never say that. It's wrong is wrong. What he did was wrong, honey. We don't become different people because we have had issue in our own lives. Still, right is right and wrong is wrong, honey. What was your daughter? Then he got federal charges because they got him on racketeering charges. That's saying that you have a whole enterprise for getting these girls to you, right? I guess he had a way where he was sending people out to find them for him and bring them to him. Maybe he'll pick them out in the audience or whatever. So they got him for racketeering. He said it's not the first time they've done that with people. You see what happened to Epstein. How long did he make it? Did he even make it to sentencing? All this for sex. It's just crazy. Okay, he definitely had multiple chances of redemption. He could have elected to stop at any point. But they say that that obsession is very strong. That if your person is a real a pedophile, they can't really be cured from being a pedophile. Their attraction will still remain the same, even if they could stop the action. They're still going to always be sexually attracted to children. And so when he has the kind of influence that he had, and he has all these girls throwing themselves at him, and he had all this money and all these properties and all this and these people working for him and so forth, could he even be stopped? I mean, if he got out today, if they threw the whole everything out, could he go back? Would he go back? Would he go back to do the same thing? Would he just be more secretive? Just for have sex? Yeah, Lord have mercy. I guess they're attracted to the innocence of children. I mean, I can't figure it. To me, I've seen plenty of people who are 20 years old. Essentially, they have the same body as a young girl. I mean, 20 is still pretty young, right? At least they'd be legal. But I guess no, they want the mind, honey. They want the mind of a child, not only the body of a child, but the mind of a child, so they can manipulate that person. They want to rob. They get off on taking their innocence. It's a goddamn shame. So I don't even want to think about it too much. Mm-mm. Guilty on all 9 counts. The lovely one says, "Yay!" The Petty family is next. New York City. The Petty family is next. New York City. Not playing with. Okay, Petty family. Okay, I'm not familiar with that story. Chicago's going to be the main one, I would think, just for how long he was hanging around. And they said, was it a restaurant or Burger King or somewhere? Well, he was hanging around schoolyards before he became famous. He was already child molested, right? The fame didn't do it to him. He was. That's who he was. He took that into his success. Instead of sitting there in the studio night and day, which you should have been doing, honey, he had to have all this sex. Well, he can still get some bump and grind. They said he was with some boys too. So if he could be attracted to men, he can find somebody in prison. I'm sure there'll be some in there that want to be with him. I'm sure whatever how broke he says he is, there's gonna be enough money for him to have what he needs in prison. You don't need that much in there. A couple $100 a month, you're rich. So you get used to it. At first, it seems like horrible, particularly when you're giving up a whole lot to get in there. If somebody's homeless on the street, girl, and they ain't never got more than $10, $15 on them at any time. Uh, Many times the state is rescuing them because in there at least they have three hots and a cot, as they say. But when you're giving up a whole lot, honey, when you're giving up homes and career and records and this, I mean, the Grammys and all this kind of shit, honey, your own studios and all these people working for you, when you're giving up all that and you're getting locked into a damn cell, that's a major adjustment. So let's hope that at least is able to survive without hurting himself or somebody else hurting him. I guess you can probably live on this star power thing, but he gonna take some ass whoopings in there behind his charges. Right. People are they are ferocious about child molesters in prison. I can tell you that. I never saw one make it to the yard. I remember seeing they would have them in they would let them work on the job at the furniture factory. But when their job was over, there was an escort there to escort them back to their cell, particularly when the yard found out what they were in there for. Keep it on the down low, huh? Well, I guess they didn't keep it on down low enough. Mm-mm-mm. And we don't even know what actually went on in the bedroom. We just know the stories that the girls were willing to talk about, but they ain't talking about everything. Anytime a nigga gonna pee on little kids, how is it? How do you understand something like that? And how do you go back to being normal after that? After you've been taken to that extreme. So if they talk about that, you can imagine what they're not going to talk about. He's into all this control and stuff like that. I'm sure there was all kind of strange games going on in that house where he got to have them all in separate bedrooms. Who even has that kind of sex drive? If you want to have sex with all these people, shouldn't you be touring or making money or doing something? Jesus Christ. Let me get off R. Kelly. It pisses me off when I think about it. It just makes me uncomfortable. Mhm. Now I want to leave America. No, too late now, buddy. You had every opportunity. When you beat that case, you could have went to Europe, child, and became a European sensation. But when that obsession still follow you even to Europe, so maybe Europe got spared, right? I don't know that he would harm himself because I don't know this man. I just remember the Epstein thing happening very recently. And what they Jeffrey Dahmer didn't they killed him? The inmates killed him. I think with a mop bucket, a mop ringer or something. But a lot of them suicide. A lot of them people can't do the time. Right. So it ain't over, baby. He got to do Fed. I don't think does Fed time trump state time and federal time are different animals. If he can get if he has a federal crime and ends up in a federal prison, they actually have tennis courts and golf little golf things where they play golf because they're in there with all these white collar criminals. So from what I understand, I've never been to a federal pen. It's a lot easier time, right? And that's where Madoff and all of them ended up, you know. Kenneth Petty. He also have a court case in New York City for failing to register as sex offender, also making death threats, stalking, harassment in New York. Who is that? Okay. Nicki Minaj's husband. See, I have not followed that case at all. I just heard her husband had sexual issues and criminal issues. So that's Nicki Minaj's husband. Okay. He's going before New York City courts too. They're trying to get Donald Trump's ass up there, drugging them New York City courts. Uh-huh. You got to be sitting up and thinking, well, my God damn, all I had to do was just get a house in the Bahamas, and I could have retired. I could have produced music. I couldn't get that goddamn monkey off my back. I couldn't give up the obsession with having all these girls, honey, and boys. So he'll get him a boyfriend in there. Hmm. Somebody on the younger side will be enamored by his career. All that won't happen until he gets settled. That might be 5 years. He's gonna be in court for at least 5 years. As soon as he finished one court, and we don't know about the other states. I mean, he traveled constantly, right? So if there's a case in Indiana, he has to go to Indiana. A lot of the time we run concurrent. I mean, life is life. So they can pile on as many cases as they want. Some people just want closure, right? We want closure for what happened to my daughter, and whatever. But after he's already doing life, what difference does it make, really? So sometimes they'll go ahead and continue to prosecute, and sometimes they'll say, well, we already got him. Uh, there was even a male victim who testified he or them to not just a woman. No, I guess there were more than one boy. He had been with several boys as well. He's an oversexed person. But yeah, he'll get all that kind of action. He can still get that action. A boy. I mean, you got to do it under guard. I don't know how much you can do it in there because they're going to constantly be watching you, but in particular, they are certainly not going to put no young boy in the cell with no R. Kelly. That ain't going to happen. So you get you above your own age in his 50s and 60s, R. Kelly. The RICO is waiting for him in Chicago too. This conviction here, wasn't this a RICO Act? Racketeering? That's what I say, Primo Wanda. He could have paid a grown woman to fulfill his wicked fantasies. Exactly. I mean, if it's just about sex, just say I want somebody youthful looking. No, something about a pedophile though. They want a child. They don't want an adult person, even if the adult looks like they're young. If you tell them, "How old are you?" I'm 21. Oh, this ain't gonna work. It's a mental thing with them, I believe. I don't think it's so much the physical because your body is still essentially the same when you're 20 as when your first few. I guess I guess 13, 14 years old. This is when he married Aaliyah. She was just entering puberty. Hmm. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. It's got to be going through his head a lot, and when you're locked up, honey, particularly when you're locked up, girl, and you're in protective custody because you're not even outdoors. I mean, most people there they have yard time every day, so they're outside on the weight yard and all that kind of stuff. But locked up in a cell for years and years and years. Come on, some of them are usually eventually they'll do a few years in solitary or PC, protective custody, and then eventually they'll let them on the main yard years after their crime, right? But everybody's going to know who R. Kelly is and what he's done. They, when he walks in, everybody knows his crime and his history of the crime, right? All it takes is one person who has that kind of animosity towards child molesters, because even regular child molesters they get stabbed all the time in there. That's why they got to be protected. He used to hang at the high schools. 27 years old, he could have got anybody he wanted. Adult person he wanted. Not interesting to a pedophile. What else is going on here? So the RICO Act is in Chicago. I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of cases. A lot of those cases happen in Chicago. That's the primary place. So I guess he traveled to New York City. Did he have a home in New York City? He traveled to New York City and did crimes in New York City, and he seduced these girls in New York City. But my guess would be if he's that obsessed with sex, he's probably seduced women, excuse me, not women, young girls in every place he went, right? I mean, if somebody is that oversexed, would they be going traveling all around the world and not picking up girls at every stop? So it's up to the prosecutors and what the Fed wants to do. They get them in their RICO Act, though. They don't got to prove all them other cases. Oh, I don't know about that ego fan. He was involved with the mother. I didn't see too much evidence of him being messing around with grown women, though. I mean, he was married. Uh, it seems to me that almost all the cases where these people were very, very young, preferably children. She owned Kelly's music catalog from Ephraim. Okay, I believe it's true. How else? She owns? Who owns? Huh? Aaliyah's mother owns Kelly's music catalog. That's worth a lot of money eventually. He's kind of probably pretty much canceled at this point. Olympia Fields, which is a suburb of Chicago. That is where the tapes were. Okay. Yeah, that Chicago case is going to be huge. But you can only do one life sentence, honey. Then they gonna sit there and wait for. Are they going to continue to try him while he's waiting for uh, sentencing here? I mean, in New York City. It seemed like it said May. They're not going to sentence him to May. What's that? That's a long time. And then after they sentence him, immediately, I guess he would be flown to another state to face those charges. And then he got to wait and wait and wait for that. And he got to wait for sentencing there and all this kind of shit, yeah. They might be better to just try the federal case, the Fed, that will cover everything, and then put him away forever if he's convicted in a RICO case. RICO case usually involves mobsters and people making profit. So his case is a little different, but it says it's not unprecedented. It's happened before. They've charged people that way before. Deandra Jameson, R. Kelly was allegedly raped as a child by a grown woman. This is the root of his behavior. No excuses, though. No excuses, honey. But you see what I mean about people when you mess with their childhood. It's wrong. You don't know what the outcome is going to become. Was he molested? That makes him a molester. Him feeling like sex with children is okay. We don't know. R. Kelly apparently, aside from music, it wasn't all that bright, honey. So who knows how fragile his mind was? If he having sex before he was a man, yeah, that can mess him up. I got molested when I was 11. I was already gay. I mean, at least I already felt that way. So I was a willing participant. But how's an 11-year-old going to make an adult decision about who they're going to have sex with? Fortunately, I didn't become some sexual deviant because of it. It happened one time, three of us, three guys, three kids. Uh-huh. He was oddly attracted to his mother. Yeah. But we can't make excuses for that dude, though. I mean, he's still going to be responsible for his crimes. Because it's not like he is somebody who made a mistake, right? This is a dude. I mean, he was pathological with this thing. He probably had hundreds of girls. We don't know. I mean, the world was his oyster, right? And then when you think about all these young girls all screaming at the stage, I mean, they were all willing participants. We don't know how many came forward. I'm sure a lot of them are embarrassed to say that they had done that, but they were still children who got molested by a celebrity. There's always been groupies and things like that. His problem was the age thing. He should have had people checking IDs at the door, but see, he didn't want to check the IDs because he wanted them to be underage. And I just can't get into making excuses for no pedophile, though. You know, you got to be held responsible. You've hurt other people's lives, honey. You say, "Oh, he ain't hurt nobody live. He ain't hurt nobody." Well, let's hit the streets in 10 years and see how many of those girls are actually on the street as prostitutes. Because whenever they interview prostitutes, almost all of them have a story of being molested or having sexual encounter before they were adults. Most of them. Mhm. I believe I can fly. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and just fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. He said, if I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. That sounds a little bit like a prophecy. hmm That's a hard fall, having everything, then going to nothing from lobster to top ramen. Hey, well, I'm sure he have somebody send him some oysters for his top ramen, primo Wanda. He can get oysters, he can get tuna fish. He get you can get some mayonnaise shoved in every quarter, so every 4 times a year. You can have you some creature comforts, and now you can even have a television in your room. He can't read, so he's not going to be real big. A lot of people go to prison, they become avid readers, right? You got to pass the time some kind of way, and reading is a great way. I had never even read a book in my life until I went to prison. When I went to prison, I became an avid reader. I just read all the time, right? Because there's nothing else to do. But guys in this situation, they have televisions now. They let them have radios, and I imagine he has his writing. Maybe he can get. You're not supposed to profit. Well, you're not supposed to profit from your crimes. So I don't know if you can go in prison and still be sending out music. I don't know how that would work. You'll be doing it without music, obviously. Who knows? Who knows, honey? Yeah, that top ramen's a mess, honey. Well, it's just noodles, different kind of noodles. I guess you could have spaghetti every day. You'd be a big time baller. Commissary. That's right, Nappy Child. I can't wait for commissary. Give me a candy bar. You're gonna be trying to buy favors from them boys with candy bars and things. Commissary once a month. Right. You can only spend a maximum of, I think it's $200 you can spend. But that ain't much when you consider it just gotta last a whole month. Well, they don't sell tobacco no more, so I don't know if they changed the limits or not. It used to be the main thing was tobacco. He go in there and tell all the stories, whatever. Maybe he'll write to Bill Cosby, get some pointers. I don't know if R. Kelly did any time before or not. I think he became famous pretty early in his life, right? Wasn't he still in his 20s when he became famous? So he might not have ever even done any jail time. Drake put him on his latest CD. Nobody can deny that he was an extremely talented man. I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Sex. People, live into your old age where you can forget it, lay it down, honey. Mm-mm-mm. Cigarettes, no. That's Can they have e-cigarettes in prison? I doubt it, honey. You're still inside most of the time. When I was in there, the last time I was in there, the cigarettes went from, I think it was like $18 a can. It went from $18 a can, and then when they outlawed cigarettes in all California prisons, it went from $18 a can to $120 a can of tobacco. This is not no pack of cools, honey. This is roll them up tobacco. $120. And there are some people in there, ex drug dealers and shit, who could actually afford to pay $120 for a goddamn can of tobacco. But I'm sure there's nothing in there now, right? That was just because it was so expensive because they just get rid of the stock that they already had. I think they gave them a month or something that you could use it up. Tim, Charles Dawson says, Tim, plenty of senior citizens are still having sex. Good for them, honey. Of course they do, honey. Of course they do. Mm. No, it's just not my testimony. I think most people still having sex. I mean, all my stuff still works. So we can squash that rumor that Wally trying to start. Everything works fine, child. But yeah, I know people are still having sex, particularly people of means when they can have a boy at the house or whatever, a companion, shall we say? Uh, go out there, go out there and get what they want. But I mean, it's I mean, the ideal thing is to have a partner or have somebody that you love, honey. Now, I'm not closed down to that. I'll be open to that. I'm just not crawling my ass behind no bushes no more. Put it like that. It ain't all that. Now, if you're in love with somebody, then obviously you want to mate with them, you know. But he would have to come and knock on my door and say, Timothy Blaine, I heard that you're looking for love. You need love. Because I sure the hell ain't going there looking for him no more. Mm-mm. It was a process, Charles Dawson. It didn't just disappear like that. It was a process. Everybody gonna face that process. I don't think you go to old folks' home. Although I always thought it was funny. They had an outbreak of HIV in the senior citizens' homes in Florida, right? So apparently, some of them old men in there was carried on because with the ladies, because how could they transmit HIV in there, right? So yeah, some people are still very sexual. Ain't wrong with it. I mean, I tease a little bit, but you like what you like, honey. I prefer statues myself. Things that will have some lasting value. Yeah, I think women get there usually faster than men, right? Get see Kate, you raising them cheering, plus you're working a full-time job. Girl, you got to deal with his ass. I'm sure that you're not just in the mood, shall we say, on a regular basis as you get to be, your life gets full. Some people say they gotta have date nights and things. To me, you're better off. Charles Dawson, you something else. That's right, Tim. Let these YouTube streets know you still got plenty of lead in your pencil, baby. Unfortunately, I couldn't call it a pencil. I got plenty of tobacco in my cigar. Let's put it like that. Uh-huh. If you go, good see Kate, some of them old means be getting those young women's. If you go to Beverly Hills, I used to work in Beverly Hills for years, right? I work in Neiman Marcus and department stores, Robinsons. Anyway, when you go there, you will see all these old geezers. And the wives are always young. I mean, I guess they usually have at least two in their lifetime, right? They'll get to be a certain age, then they trade that one. She takes half his money, and then they'll go and start another life because they always seem to have these young girls, right? And these ain't no hidden kind of mistresses. These are people who are they going in and out of stores with. So I assume that they're wives, right? They're the Ann and Nicole Smiths of the world. But it is a common thing that they are with these young girls, younger women, shall we say. Old men with young girls. So sad. Until you start counting up them zeros, Michelle. I ain't talking about no R. Kelly situation, but a lot of young girls will marry these old guys if they can provide them with the creature comforts of life. It is not unusual, honey. Guys either. I've noticed I used to call it the 10-year rule. And if you saw a successful gay man and then you saw their partner, the partner was always 10 to 15 years younger than the or it seemed to be 10, 15 years younger than the successful man. Seemed like they always had somebody, but they were always younger. right? And of course, I don't go. As you get older, you're not out in the clubs and all that, so you don't really see the committed couples or what goes on in their house. I mean, ideally, you meet someone young and you grow old together, so then you don't see them as quite the same way as you're just picking them for their physical attributes. Hmm. Old men, but never involving young underage girls, though. We got to at least let these girls become young ladies, young women, to make rational decisions. What was the saying? I forgot what it was already. Charles Dodson. Oh, the cigar, tobacco. Plenty tobacco in my cigar. Lord have mercy. It happens every day. People partner for all kind of reasons, and some people just like older people. It's not unusual. Gay people, they got something called daddy hunt, and you go on there. You assume that means everybody's on there looking for a place to stay, or looking for a daddy to take care of them. But no, there's some that go on there and they like older men. You know, so not everybody is obsessed with youth like we think they are, honey. A lot of people, a lot of young people want someone with a little more experience, and not only to pay bills, but also to educate them and teach them things, show them things that they didn't know. Am I gonna get a 25-year-old? I don't think I have anything in common with a 25-year-old. I certainly think people are pretty to look at at 25, male or female. Yeah, they're gorgeous to look at, but I don't think I have anything in common with them. Every time I try to watch even a movie with about young people, I ain't got nothing in common with those people. I don't relate to them. So no, I don't want no 25-year-old. But me in my 60, 63, child, a 40-year-old man is 20, 23 years younger than me, right? So my last relationship with the bisexual guy, when I met him, he was 24 years old, right? And I think I was 30, I was 12 years older than him, 24. So I was 36, right? I was 36. Now that man is 50 something years old, which which indicates that I'm still 12 years older than him. So if I'm 12 years older than him, then he would definitely be 50 years old. Ain't no puppy. We all getting older, honey. And he would still be a pup to me. So I guess somebody 50 years old would still be a young person to me. Certainly somewhere around 40, I think. 35 to 40. No, nobody in their 20s. Those days are gone. School days. How I wish for school days. How we used to run and play. Hey, now those days are gone. Mhm. Wondering what went wrong in those days. When I was 25, I didn't even like people my age. My boyfriend was much older than me. I feel you. Right. In reason, you want somebody kind of with some knowledge. Young people usually always say, I'm mature for my age. So they want to be more mature. They're not finished their growing process yet. My partner, I was 22. The first one I was 20, and then the second one, and I hardly ever think about that guy, but we were partners. And then the real one, my partner, I was 22 and he was 29. So he's had 7 years on me. He certainly showed me a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. I hadn't experienced yet. So yeah, we can't assume. He's 50. I'm 63. Right. That's a 50-year-old man now. Lord have mercy. Ah, who a girl. I almost got a black eye. Oh, somebody took it out already. Lord have mercy. Or we're talking about Jay Wilson. He 50. I'm ready to go. Bitch. You have to be attracted to the people. That's the farthest thing from my mind, darling. Thank you. Right. Right. Young people are not finished up for some people, and then some people just like people their age. You have more in common with a person your own age, I think. That's the idea when you're young. I mean, everybody is fine when they're in their 20s, pretty much. So I can't date people my age. They sleep too much for me. They sleep too much. Uh-uh. Baby, Mom's Mabley said it best. She said, if you see me with an old man, I'm holding him for the police. It's not exclusively men either. A lot of these women, these celebrities, celebrities, I should say, just because we're able to look into their lives and see them what they do, they give them a young piece. Everybody's not married either, honey. They get them a pool boy. You know, Nikki Ballou, you got to wake his ass up. Get up, get your ass up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the guy who like daddy type, both sexual reasons. Other. Yeah, I ain't got no fringe benefits to give him, Charles Dawson. There are lots of guys who like daddy types, both for sexual reasons and other fringe benefits. Right. So an older guy naturally is going to usually be in better shape financially and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a natural thing. But they can be actually attracted to that man just because they just like an older man, like that Tom Selleck type character. Some people they like these beards, and then they like he's an older, mature man. A lot of gay boys are interested in men, not underage, just young, right? So I don't even try. Now, that would be the only benefit of having made a whole lot of money in my life. And I go out there and give me a little piece. You need somebody to put you through school, boy. Mm-mm. Your other child is 20 years older than you? Huh? Oh, your other boyfriend is 20 years older? Right. Forever though, I mean, they've always been 10. I mean, I don't consider 10-year difference any big deal. But a lot of people who are with people who are at least a lot of times the male is at least 10 years older than the female. Depends on where you meet them. Sometimes if you meet them in school or you meet them in college, you might be the same age. And I mean, I don't think it's anything bad about saying that people want someone to give them some security as well. You want a mature person that wants to go to work, you know, who's still ambitious, who wants to provide you with things and takes pleasure in providing things for you and for your family. And you don't want no scrub for no damn baby daddy. I guess we specialize in the baby daddy language over here, but a father, you don't want your kids to be stuck with some slug guy. Hell, he can't get off TV. Your hood, the kid's father is spending all day with playing video games. It ain't gonna work. We need a serious person. So for that reason, I could see a person, a little bit older than you, more mature than you. But women are more mature than men anyway. So she could be 10 years younger and be on the same level as him. Oh, they were 26. Hi, TT. I don't understand how I can be my age and still they think I'm in my 30s. Oh, you're older than 30? Okay, I had to stop someone from trying to get at me. They were 26. They are pretty. I mean, young people are beautiful. That's why they're in all of the movies and billboards and jeans commercials, and they're the models and all these physical things. We all recognize on some level that young people are beautiful. 20s, early 30s. That don't mean you necessarily want to be hooked up with them. Ooh, 20 years older than me is older than my parents. I can't. Like I'm over here with my daddy. That's what they call them, Nikki. They call them daddies. People have got daddy issues. Do women who are raised without a father, are they more prone to be with daddy types? I don't know. I never really asked anybody. Hmm. Hard pass. Want me somebody young and virile. Mm-hmm. Okay, how y'all doing today? Okay, thanks for coming by, says Nappy Child. Mhm. Nappy Child, I got your email. I think I'll be getting some next month. They don't come into next month. Would you be quiet, please? Please, Queenie? Would you be quiet, please? That I gotta keep everything protected, Eddie. It's my natural order. It's my job. Squeenie. Your dad was with you? I never had one really. I mean, the monster that my mama married, he was gone by the time I was 8. So I don't even remember the nigga. He left some wounds and scars. I know that on me emotionally. But after that, she was kind of pretty much done. Now, almost as soon as the kids left, though, we were around. I left at 19. My sisters, they got married around the same age, whatever. She almost immediately got married again. Kids were gone. But I wasn't there. I was out here already. So mm-mm. I never knew about that. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Yes, even people who have stayed together, honey. Sometimes you don't know what that family has been through, right? You don't know what's going on in nobody else's house. You want to get him to leave, lovely one. Uh, I would advise anyone to read Myth Monster. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, you get some context about your uncle Timothy Blaine in that Myth Monster. I poured everything. I tried to tell you the truth as best I could to get it right up there, snug up with the truth, baby. I never dreamed that the monsters would try to use it against me, but it's only a few pages. It's about love and deliverance, honey. Hmm. Your parents been together since you were 17? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's real nice. They're 65 now. That's another thing I could never do. Yeah, but I mean, growing old together with somebody, I mean, at some point, I make fun of these people who got to wipe ass and all that, but at some point, we all gonna need that service, right? We all gonna need a little help, honey. So it's great if you have grown old with somebody, you know. I'm sure that it's not about humping on each other at that age after you've been together for 30, 40 years. If you went through all the storms of life and you're still together, that's great. Somebody to hold your hand. Who's gonna pick you up when you call? Can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Oh, who's gonna who's gonna pay attention to your dreams? Something like that. Will you still love me when I'm 64? Nursing home, Lord. When I see some of these people who working in these nursing homes, child, I don't know, Wendy. I do not know, baby. When I see some of these examples of what kind of care people get in nursing homes on here, gives you pause, don't it? I probably won't live to be that old. I have people in my neighborhood that are well into the 90s. Maybe one's even older. One of them like, could be 100. It takes a man, like 10 minutes to get across the street. I was saying, well, is this what the goal is? Really? I don't want to live forever. Shit. So I guess it just depends. I don't know. You can't pick when you want to die or anything like that. But I don't know that I want to be real, real, real old where I can't get around by myself. Something tells me that it won't come to that. So we'll see. God will be merciful. God will be merciful. I am sure of it. We will be able to deal with whatever we got to deal with when the time comes, baby. 64 ain't old. That's my age. I'm 63. Shit. uh You don't even retire till you're 65, right? 62 or 65. You just been starting your golden years, honey. Plus, people live longer now. I mean, assuming that we get through this COVID thing, people live into the 80s comfortably. My grandmother still had her full faculties. She was still had her sharp mind and sense of humor and everything well into her 90s. She died at 94, but at 90 years old, she was still, her mind was completely young. Her body had gotten old. Must be my cooking. Must be my cooking, baby. It's cheaper to keep her. Gonna cost you too much to leave her alone. Cheaper to keep her. Cheaper to keep her. Cheaper to keep her. Uh-uh. You got somebody cooking at home, taking care of the children, taking care of your house, doing all that dusting. Some of these men just fall apart when they ain't got no woman. Everything covered with dust. They can't cook. They can't clean. They're lazy. Damn bedroom look like a college dorm. It's a partnership. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind having a good home cooked meal right about now myself. Uh-huh. All right, you wonderful people. Thanks for coming in. Y'all give a little prayer for R. Kelly that he's able to do it. He did the crime. Now he got to do the time. That's what he can do it. Not everybody can. So sad all the way around. Had to come to an end though, right? All right, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye bye. Thanks for coming in.